Your search is over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
Every time that our next guest joins us in studio, I swear to God, we get the same reaction on Twitter every time. He's got to be on more often.
I love it.
Steve Sear.
And we sell a few books. The product placement here is key.
There you go. Yep. Longtime casino host Steve Sear joins us in studio. Yeah, there you go. Subject of the book, Whale Hunt. How many Whale Hunt in the Desert? How many volumes or editions have there been?
This is the third one, and it's really good. Yeah, required reading now at Cornell, where I got rejected. That's another story, and NYU. So I get paid to speak there twice a year to each. So that's kind of cool.
How do you start the speech?
I'm a 2.3 from UNLV is exactly how I start, and I hand out my rejection letter, especially to the kids at Cornell, and I go, you just spent $200,000 on education. Why? No one's ever going to give a
Go ahead.
No one's ever going to give a shit about your GPA. I've never been asked that once. So, and you're going into a business where the brave makes more than the chief. A cocktail waitress at rehab, she saved $100,000 this summer. She just wants Saturday off. She doesn't care that you went to Cornell.
Yeah.
And then I'm nice to them.
When you actually say that, okay,
yes.
Good luck. Now you're $200,000 in debt, right?
Right.
Paying for your education. I'm guessing that the students, that's all they want to talk to you about. Like, how did you do it? How are you?
Well, I'm just a hustler, and I caught an industry at the right time. You know, I always love to tell the story when I called my mom and said, hey, I'm not going to come back to beautiful Salina, Kansas, one, because there's no women there, but I just didn't want to do the Marriott training program for $26,000 a year in Omaha. And she's like, well, she was upset. She was, the only other place you can even work, Steve, is New Jersey, and I know you hate the cold. And I love razzing my mom all the time. Now the only place I can't work is Utah and Hawaii. You know, in my career, 46 more states, just like marijuana's coming, gambling is accepted now. So I work at casinos all over.
Amen.
Which, by the way, I heard we're taking the show on the road to the Baja Mar, where I rep, huh?
That'd be nice.
Set that up for us.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well.
There's a book there. Hey, how about the differences between the first edition and then, like, the third edition here? There's been some changes.
Oh, yeah,
You're not a librarian.
First edition, 5 of those whales unfortunately murdered. Suicide. So I'm not a librarian. That's right. So in the 12 years of whale hunt in the third edition, so I have to keep reinventing myself.
Couldn't handle not having the money.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Paulie. That's exactly right. I think a lot of my rich guys, they just not used to it. But all right, do you want to talk Superbowl? Because I had the funnest Superbowl ever.
This is
that's why you need to be a weekly guest.
Well,
4 of them lost it all and said, adios, that'll do it.
Well, one was a drug overdose. I remember when I first would put Crystal in his room, he'd come down and say, dude, I'm a recovering addict for several different drugs. He goes, I can't have alcohol around. And he was a race car driver. He's in the book as Mr. G. And race car driver and really talented and day trader, and practicing his Formula One car. He hit the wall. When he went to the emergency room, they gave him Vicodin or whatever, and 3 weeks later, it was overdose. He just fell right off the wagon. Yeah, so, remember, a third of my players should not be gambling. They're the funnest, but they shouldn't be here. The other third are Larry Flint. He's really rich. If he wins or loses a few million, it doesn't matter. Then the other third, as their age and wealth increases, their gaming increases. My biggest players in town right now, Mr. S, I can't say his name. He's not staying at a property that I rep. But he used to bring 30 to 40,000, okay? And that was 30 years ago. Now that's his first bet. As his age and wealth increased, his gaming increases, So, yeah.
Where's he from?
Okay.
How do you negotiate? Where's he from? Answer that.
He's California.
Okay. Now, how do you negotiate for him?
He's got about 30 different things. Can he split aces 4 times? Can he double down after a split? If he loses $1 million, does he get a discount? Yes. If he pays in 60 days, after 4 hours of play, if his theoretical is over 200,000, does he get 100,000 in promotional chips? Yes. Play till you lose them. There's a lot on the wheel. It's a single zero wheel. He's smart. He's going to negotiate everything to help so we hold or don't have a chance to win as much. For every 100,000 we drop, I'm going to talk to you like you're in 5th grade, in a blackjack game, if we win or hold $14,000 or 14%, we had a great day. We have a lot of days where we get our asses kicked. But by the end of the year, we're going to hold 14% of every $100 that goes in there. Well, he negotiates things to get that down. So he can split aces 4 times, and he can double down after he splits 8s and gets a 2 and gets an 11, stuff like that. There's a reason that if you go to a double deck game, you can't play $5 a hand, right? I mean, we have a higher minimum because, you don't have to be a brain surgeon. If you've seen 8 aces, there aren't any more.
Sure.
How about with Larry? What's it like with Larry?
Oh, yes. That's a whole nother
Now
topic.
that's shopping sprees.
Yeah,
Can you do that?
he's very shrewd. Some guys come for fun and some guys come for work. I'm sure just like in sports betting, right? Some guys are really into it, and all the guys I sat with on Super Bowl Sunday, they were just there to have fun. Those are the good guys, the guys that really analyze everything and listen to VSiN and get that inside information.
I want to go back to the biggest bettor that's in town right now. That
Okay.
You have. Okay. So he's got the table all to himself, clearly.
Oh yeah,
Right.
He's not,
good.
and he plays different games. He's not just blackjack.
Okay.
He'll play the wheel, roulette, and he'll play dice too.
But how many hands at a time was my question.
One-on-one is the best odds for him and for you. You want one decision against one decision, but he'll break it up. He's superstitious. They all are. I don't know why, but so yeah, he'll fire. He can go 6 spots if he wants.
Kerry Packer used to do that, right?
Oh man, yeah. Kerry Packer used to do that 50,000 a hand. That was back before whales were really known. But
Jesus, it's sanity. How about the headaches that they can?
Well,
they think they're entitled, and it's. I mean, they have an ego.
They do, and they are entitled. I mean, come on, they're risking. I remember I had the bean counters that I always go head to head with, like, oh, this guy's a pain in the ass. Look, man, he's betting 15,000 a hand. How big of a pain in the ass is he? You know what I mean? He just had a $15,000 beer. I mean, that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah, right.
Just like on a low level. Well, we're drinking for free. Well, dude, you lost $200 and you had 2 glasses of wine. And well, Steve comped my room. Well, yeah, because you lost $1,500. You could have got on Expedia for $79. My whole business is smoke and mirrors.
Right, sure. Yeah, sure.
Remember Super Bowl? We're watching TV. I mean, it was really cool, and everybody, I listened to your show. Oh, it was a boring game, man. Not if you're in Vegas at a cool party. We had like 150 Maxim girls on the floor and food catered in, and people were after even like halftime, they were kind of bored with the in-game betting and all that. They just wanted to have fun, and of course, I had the Patriots, so I was very happy. And my secret bet, my player does a secret bet for me every year.
How far back?
He let me, 20 years.
20 years he gets you.
20 years. He gives me a secret bet, and they'll mess with me, but I can't open it until start of the fourth quarter. And the biggest bet was Patriots to win by 7, 8, 9, or 10. And it hit. So that was really cool. Very exciting.
So a big missed field goal there for you.
Yeah.
Big sequence there,
Huge missed field goal.
Final 90 seconds.
For me, yeah.
All right, good for you. What I meant was also the ego plays in of how come so-and-so gets the big suite?
Well, yeah.
Way to look what I'm playing. Competition.
You know how in every business you'll hear, well, we treat every customer the same. Well, we don't in the casino world, for sure. Not everybody gets the ringside tickets. Not everybody gets to go see Celine Dion. Not everybody gets 8 o'clock, Scotch 80 dinner reservation. I mean, we have a hierarchy. And just because you booked your room 3 months ago, I do not care. Okay, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and some guy just came in from Wynn and lost $114,000, and you're bumped because I'm putting him in the better couch or the sofa now. I mean, you have to try to keep him happy and make it up to him, but we don't treat every player the same.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, don't you have a high limit window here at the South Point?
I'd ask you this. How much coordinating do you do with other hosts at other properties? Does that happen?
Yeah. Half of the coordination they don't like, and, half the town hates me, half the town loves me. And the other half, of course you coordinate, because maybe the guy's stuck and he needs something, or a guy just is, I can't stay another day at Bellagio. I'm getting my ass kicked there every day. I want to go someplace else. That's cool. Host will call me and we'll take them someplace else. My job is to keep really the player happy, but I got to keep the casino happy too. Remember, I'm the broker.
Yeah.
When a big whale comes in and wins $1 million, where the casino's not happy, they want him back instantly, and the player's happy, with me, and then I want to take the player someplace else so I can earn. I earn in this jurisdiction on his theoretical loss and other jurisdictions on his loss. So to be honest, I hope a guy wins in Nevada and loses in California or the Bahamas. You know what I mean?
Well, then you're going to have a field day.
Oh, yeah. I had one of those about 2 months ago. A guy won like $300,000 in Las Vegas, and I maxed out. I made my commission to $12,000, and he goes, "Well, what do you want to do for a couple of days?" I go, "I don't know. Let's go to the Verona," because there I get 10% of loss. And he lost about half of it back, so I made some more. But he went home winner, so had a great trip.
I could see also how you had a little better frosty relationship with some people in the book where you'd call up and hey, I got to tell you, you're getting screwed over there. You call the guy.
Yeah, they don't like to hear that, and that's actually how I got my biggest player. That was the one sentence that I got out. I just wanted you. He called to tell me that if I kept calling him, the next call would be from his attorneys. Okay, and he was totally serious because we're friends now. And I was like, look, I just want you to know you're getting screwed by Steve Wynn. And he goes, how am I getting screwed by Steve Wynn? And I said, well, you just lost $2 million, and aren't you a businessman? You're going to pay the whole $2 million. And this is a long time ago. This is like late 90s. I said, if your name was Yamaha or Suzuki, you'd get 10% off. You're a schmuck. I go, you just ate $200,000 because you're the white boy that you just lost $2 million. Put me on hold. I didn't know this. I thought he was just like calling his attorney. Put me on hold. Called Steve Wynn. A couple minutes, said, come pick me up. Boom, and I got him. Because that's so I think I had a little part in that's how we started giving discounts to, back in the day, you only got a discount if you were an international player. International player gets a better airfare deal, even though they drive in from LA. It's a lot of BS, But, we give incentives to people to come in, free play, even if you're playing slots here. You get some free play, it just greases the wheel. So, he wasn't getting a discount. So that's how I got
You offered, he liked it, said, let's dance, and you made it happen.
Yeah. Okay. And, one time, I'd say one of the best takes is I had to drive a dice table up to this hot springs in Montana. That was cool. It was the guy's birthday. And MGM sent him a Mercedes, This guy he didn't give a crap about a Mercedes, And I had a custom dice table made with his Hot Springs logo on the felt, and it had like eagle claws, and I rented a U-Haul and drove it up to him on his birthday. And it was the first time that I met him. I'd called him forever and tried to go over and see him at the MGM, and he was so impressed with the dice table that then we had the Hilton jet come to the Hot Springs, pick us up, and that's the guy I went around the world with. He's in the book, Fast Eddie.
You drove up there personally?
Yeah. Rented a U-Haul,
from Vegas to Montana.
Yeah, and it was snowing, it was icy, and I didn't like driving the U-Haul because I'm not used to, driving like a truck. Thank God it wasn't stick shift. And I remember I stopped at this gas station. I said, hey, I'm trying to get to the Hot Springs. And they said, oh, you'll see the road. And I didn't know what he meant. He had routed the Hot Springs water through his 25,000 square foot house, through his tennis courts, and then half mile down the road. So it was ice and snow, and all of a sudden the road started steaming. Well, because he had hot water running under his road. Wow. And then I drove up, and here's this old guy playing tennis with his shirt off, and it's snowing outside. And I said, hey, Mr. C, I'm Steve Sear. I said, isn't today your birthday? And he goes, what the hell are you doing up here? And I said, come on, I got something for you. And I showed him the dice table, and that was it.
Now, that's how you do it. That's like
that was a good one.
If you tell the students at Cornell, like, that's what you have to do, they're not going to forget that. Like, okay, now I got to be smart, creative, come up with ways to hook people,
Yeah, well, I told you one of my biggest players, too. I think I told the story before. She's called the Dragon Lady, Janet Lee, pool player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty girl. Yeah, I had a player that was a pool player. And when he came to his suite, she was there to play him one-on-one.
Oh, see, that's awesome.
Yeah. She beat him out of about $3,000.
No.
That was pretty cool.
Okay, so you're great at your job, but how about, do you have limits? And does the casino have limits? Strange requests?
Well, I always get this question from every student or somebody when I go talk to them. They'll go, well, don't your players want to do a lot of drugs and ask you for cocaine or a lot? I'm telling you guys, in 32 years, I can count on one hand my druggies. My guys, the guy that wants to do ecstasy all night and go to the clubs, that's not my guy. My guy loves the ladies, and he loves to gamble. That's it. And he's into the deal. You know what I mean? He's the guy that wants to do coke all night and stuff. It's not my guy. Yes, you have a few of them, but
his high is the gambling.
Exactly. I've never had a cup of coffee. I never tried cocaine because I was afraid I'd like it. I'm a pretty hyper guy. I'm a goody-goody. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
Seriously.
Well, how about some strange requests then over the years? And a lot of it's in the book, too. I mean, fill the bathtub
I
up
have one asshole that he is, and I would say that, I think, to his face. We have to strain yogurt through cheesecloth because that's his butter. I don't know if it's the part that is in the cheesecloth or that goes through it, and he brings his own toilet paper. Just some guys are really weird. One guy, not my player back in the day, used to bring a soothsayer with him. And, where are the best suites? On the top floor, of course. But if the soothsayer said, oh, we need to stay on floor 15, well, I'd have to, move 30 standard rooms. I'm like, well, only standard rooms on that floor. Okay. And then he'd want to stay on that floor because the soothsayer said that,
Jesus.
Yeah. And then he'd lose $3 million. I'm like, dude, you need to fire the soothsayer.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Nice job.
Need somebody else.
What was the guy fill up the bathtub with champagne?
Oh, yeah, that happened. God, he really knows the book. It's impressive.
I got to read it.
One guy wanted a Cristal champagne, which is really dumb, but he wanted to do it to show off. It's amazing what all of us as men will do to impress women. And I heard you talking about Mr. Kraft earlier, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah. How many times do you have to know if it's the mistress or the girlfriend?
Oh, yeah, all the time. We always call people by their initials, Mr. C, Mr. H, and it never say Mrs. because you never know. I had one player recently where his wife thought it was his first time in Vegas, and it was so hard because everybody knows him, and he's so nice. And so the maitre d', he's got to act like on the menu. I mean, he always gets the same thing that's not on the menu, but okay, so that was kind of funny.
That was recently?
That happens all the time.
You have to plan ahead and tell everybody, look,
and I don't know why guys
play.
play roulette like that. Don't bring the girlfriend and the wife the same time to Vegas, if you learn anything from Steve Sear. But they do it all the time. I don't know why they do that.
How about when you have personally been in a pickle and nobody's been able to help you out? Like, weirdest thing that anybody said, Steve, I need a deep-fried Twinkie right now. Go across the street, give me one. Something like that, where you've had to actually make the one yourself.
No deep-fried Twinkies. Usually I'm pretty polished. I get it. A lot of time it's ticket requests at the last minute. Super Bowl Sunday, it happens. Hey, can you get me to the game? The ticket's not the problem. It's getting that private plane in the time slot in the air and all that stuff. But and I got to tell you, I've been to 3 or 4 Super Bowls. I think it's more fun to be in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So
has to be. Yep.
And it's a bigger event for me than New Year's Eve for sure.
By the way, one more story in the book, Whale Hunt in the Desert with Steve Sear, longtime Vegas host.
You can buy it on Amazon.
It's available at Amazon.
Every time I'm on the show, we sell a few hundred, which is wonderful. Thank you. But then I always say something like, if you need anything, at Steve Sear Vegas. And guys are like, oh, can I get a book? Can I get a book? And I'm nice, and I'll probably send you one. So
there's a story about Pierce Brosnan, I believe, who had to take a limo. He was specifically looking to take, I think, somebody shopping somewhere that had to be exactly with this horse statue out front or something totally bizarre in the book. I haven't read it in more than a year, but it was... And the limo driver had to take him to Sam's Town, and that's where he wanted to go shopping, of all things. Doesn't make
I don't remember that.
Oh, you got to go back and look.
Okay.
It's definitely in the book.
All right.
Okay, we'll continue with Steve Sear coming up next.
Thanks.
And, okay, so the Super Bowl, how crazy it is. I want to ask you if March Madness has taken over, actually, as the craziest weekend in Las Vegas, more so than New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, and the Super Bowl. We'll do that with Steve coming up next.
It's been between 2 and 3 minutes. You know what that means. It must be time for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204.
As we continue, longtime Vegas casino host Steve Sear, subject of the
Long
book, Whale
time.
Hunt
It
in the
makes me
Desert.
sound old.
Well, you're experienced. How about that?
Okay, how about that?
You got a lot of
Most
stories.
experienced,
Okay,
not oldest.
Sure.
Okay.
By the way, see, I knew I was onto something with Pierce Brosnan. It's page 166.
Great story.
He had a bizarre request. He wanted to go to a Western clothing store at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Yeah, the limo driver said
it was a limo.
Sam's
Deke, the author, interviewed several different types of employees and that. So that was a limo driver story, I'm sure.
So they sat at the cafe and they talked about how he was going to play James Bond. Is that right?
I don't know. I want to hear about the national anthem bet real quick because you're talking about it on the break. And so I've never bet that. Do you bet how long it's going to be or what's the
exactly
bet?
what you bet. Yeah, and also we were able to get down our friend in Canada. What was the prop? Would Gladys Knight hold the mic or use a stand? We knew
that wasn't a bet.
Yeah, we knew the answer. We knew the answer.
You think Paul's going to make that up right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had $1,000.
Okay, how'd you get your intel?
You want names of sources?
No, I don't want naming sources. I'm cool with that kind of stuff. But help a brother out.
I was trying to tell you.
Stab in the dark.
Okay, but make a text.
We just guessed.
The guy.
Okay, but make a text next time. Because I'm good for a couple hundred on something like that.
You can't get down on that. Can you get down? You got outs like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would get it. I would get it down. Yeah.
Our friend.
What do you think he knows? My God, he knows everybody. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's true. I forget who I'm talking to. Our friend is tight with the guy who handed Gladys Knight the microphone.
Wow. Now
Can't get any
that's
better than
cool.
that.
How is that solid?
Oh,
Or is
that's
that
solid. That is solid. So you knew she wasn't going to have a stand.
Knew everything. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All
I don't
wanna give away
Only
too
on
much.
VEASAN.
You know, I don't
That's
wanna
worth
go
the
too far here.
VEASAN subscription right there.
So this was not in the book, but
Okay.
a friend of ours, Paradise, told an interesting story about how the younger demographic now, about what they want. She was telling the story, and you can back this up, that you could come out, big gamblers, get anything you want. They go to the pool, get a cabana, they play video games. Trying to play
Yeah,
hot girl.
it's unbelievable. You know, I even have a guy where he comes and plays, but he'll go up to his room and play on his laptop and stuff. So it's unbelievable. You know, I went to one of those e-sport things at Mandalay Bay, paid $52 and sat in the rafters and watched the teams play for $200,000.
What'd you think?
They were excited. They were playing Call of Duty or something. The winning team got over 200,000. I mean, it was kind of exciting. I don't really play a lot of video games, so I didn't know, but it was packed. I spent $50 and was in, the rafters at Mandalay Bay. So esports is now. Can you bet esports?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, do you guys talk about that, or is there LeBron James of esports?
I
Or
have no idea. I don't know how to bet it. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
We talked that they do have the Golden Tee Championships out here, which is cool.
see, I have a feeling that that's going to be. You'd asked about March Madness before. New Year's Eve, the players come with their wives, so we get good play but not great play, and it's a little mellow. Super Bowl's the funnest because it's the boys, and they want to brag about how much they bet and lost, and I hope they win on the game and then they lose it back at the tables. March Madness is cool, except they're only really here for March Madness.
Oh, that's it.
So that's the difference. They're going to bet all the damn games, and they're going to be there at 7 a.m. on the first and
Have to
second
be.
day to watch it, and that's cool, but they're not taking their winnings to the table. As for me, Super Bowl is a different crowd, man. If they lose 2,000 or 3,000 on the game, they're going to try to win it back at the tables. The March Madness guy, if he loses 2 or 3 grand on all the games, that's his bankroll. He's done. And if he wins, he's taking that shit home because he's so happy he won a little.
Okay. So probably because they're stuck in front of the TVs all day long,
Yeah.
they don't have time to wander off and play craps or
And
blackjack.
they're all experts in that field in their minds. And so hey, it's great for the town. The parties are great. Don't get me wrong. But for what I do, March Madness isn't as great as Super Bowl or New Year's Eve. Because they're just, their bankroll is just
nonstop.
for those games. And a lot of them are the kind of guys, I don't think they bet sports year round. They just bet March Madness. We're usually, Super Bowl, there's no doubt, everybody bets a little more and you'll get some rookies, but they're degenerates. They've bet the whole season.
fuboTV, VEASAN, Superhost Steve Sear, our guest, CYR, subject of the book Whale Hunt in the Desert. How many times have you had a scandal on your hands, shenanigans, with a player or that you've witnessed? You were on about a year ago. You told the story a lady was nicking aces with her.
Oh, yeah.
What do you get? A wheel,
Mrs.
dice,
B.
anything?
You'd be surprised. Most of the scams now are more money related as opposed to nicking aces and capping a bet or trying to bet late. I don't deal with too many of those kind of guys because my guys are really established. But you'll still get the guy that tries to wire in money or bring the cashier's check and it's not verified. I mean, it's more of a money thing now. And, with the Patriot Act of a few years ago, man, we have to vet every player. You've got to know now their source of funds. I used to have all these Harley guys that were great. They would come and have 30, 40,000 in 20s and 10s. And I remember one guy was like, dude, you got to get a new safe. I mean, his money smelled. I'm like, where has this money been? But then, now if you, that's called laundering money. I was in my 20s and, they'd put up 30 or 40,000 in 20s and 10s. And then they'd win or lose a few grand and say, oh, my old lady called, I got to go home. And then what would we do? We'd give them back, if they put up 40,000, 38,000 in hundreds. That's money laundering. That's really illegal. Okay, so now you can still put up 30,000 in 20s and 10s, but guess what? I have to give you back the exact same amount. Not the same bills, but if you put up 18,000 in 20s, I got to give you back 18,000 in 20s.
Wow.
Then I have to fill out a SAR, suspicious activity report, because I know it's a little suspicious and doesn't mean you're a drug dealer, but probably. And and then it goes to the IRS. You know, just like if you go buy a car, you spend over 10,000 green cash in a 24-hour period, whatever you do, they have to fill out a currency transaction report. I'm sure the sportsbook here does a ton of them a week. But so it's more stuff like that. You know, source of funds. Where'd you get the money? You know, we kind of have to ask that now. We didn't used to. Now you have to vet everybody. And so, you know, back in the old days, it was called the Griffin book. There's so many people in the black book that maybe they won a little bit of money and some pit boss got scared and put them in the book. There's a lot of guys in the book that shouldn't be in the book.
Yeah.
I remember the Ben Affleck story. Ben Affleck's
one?
not a counter. Okay,
Yeah,
I watched him play.
Okay.
He plays nuts. He's all over the place. Okay, he went on a few good runs, so the Hard Rock panicked and barred him as a counter. Okay, that was dumb.
I thought it was because he got a marker and then got pissed at the host and then used the marker and tipped people. It was part of that too. They thought he was a counter.
No, but there was a tip problem too until J-Lo sat down by him. Then all of a sudden, no, the tips dried up.
Oh, sure. But I heard a great story. But there was times where he would owe 50,000, lose 30, and tip 20. But you know what? He pay in 30 days. Who cares? I mean, that's how I look. He's up a ton of money. He asks a bellman or whoever, go back, can you get me a fanny pack or something? This is a long time ago. He goes, okay, brings him the fanny pack, gives him $100,000 for the fanny pack. They
I
became
didn't hear
friends.
that story.
They became friends.
Well, we'd all become friends.
Yeah.
Right?
How about this? Do you know of any, it could be male or female, that hang out in the high limit area, or they seek out big bettors?
Check hustlers, we call them. We have a term for them.
Yeah, sure.
We call chips checks.
And they're scouting because they want to.
Yes.
Like that's their future mate.
Yes, that happens a lot.
All the time.
Yes. Not with men, but women. Yeah, we call them check hustlers, and they'll just hang out and look. And that's why, you know, we try to make the high limit areas as intimidating as possible. There's always a sign they are open to the public. Even I can walk in, except the places that I'm barred or not supposed to.
And the number of places would be how many now?
Four
places.
now. There's 4 high limit areas that I'm not allowed in. Or I can go in, but then they'll say, Mr. Sear, could you leave? I haven't done anything wrong, just I've taken players from them. So I can't believe they still sweat me. It's actually flattering, but whatever.
How important to your success have been
moles?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Gotta have them.
How do you pay them off?
Usually with comps.
Yeah.
You know, just like you guys. Hey, come over, have dinner. You know,
limos,
same thing.
Limo drivers, bellmen, who are we talking?
Limo drivers, bellmen, VIP services, desk clerks, anyone that knows who's in house. I just need to know when they're in town. I'm not trying to do anything else. If I know Mitch is in town and he's a player, I mean, I'm going to find him and go over, you know. I don't impersonate room service captains anymore. I got in a lot of trouble for that.
Okay.
And was told never do that again.
How about cocktail servers at pool parties?
Yeah, that's good too.
Or is that not your? That's not your.
No, it is and isn't. You know, the bad thing about pool parties is they're at the pool all day and they're hot and they're tired and they got. You know, it's come to the point now. Like, there's a reason I like repping places downtown because it's fun. But what do you do downtown? You eat, drink, gamble. Okay, what do you do at the Hard Rock? Well, you get in, you go to the pool party all day, and it's 110 out, and you're hot. And then you go to a long dinner, and now we want to go to the nightclub or go see Santana and the show. Oh, dude, when are you going to gamble? You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many ancillary and cool things to do. That's what makes it tough.
All right, pal.
Great job.
Yeah.
I know, it was fun.
Excellent.
It was really fun. At Steve, CYR Vegas. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Amazon.com. If you want to buy the book, you can message me. And if you're in town, I had a group coming in this weekend, actually. They saw me on your show. They're going to be in town. They're staying like the Tropicana or something. And I said, I'll come over and have a beer and autograph your book, whatever. Of course, I'm down.
I'll autograph your book. Yeah, boy,
Yeah.
humble.
And I've got no, and I got a few players off the last show, you know. And here's one thing: guys are always like, I don't think I'm a big enough player, dude. If you bring $5 or $10 grand, you're big enough. Okay, I'd love to host you. Yeah. You know,
right.
You know, if everyone that came in that had $5 grand, we wouldn't know how to act. Now, that's not for going out clubbing. That's for put in the cage and gamble against it, and I'll comp your room up front and give you a little nice dinner or something.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a shot at $5 grand.
There you go.
Good
Steve
job.
Sear
Thanks for
on
coming in.
Instagram. There you go. The book is Whale Hunt in the Desert.
Thank you.
Yep. In Pocket up next.